Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Tasmania is about to become cricket central, with the state chosen as a Big Bash hub. Let's cross now to Tom Johnson, who's at UTAS Stadium. And for the first time, Tom, Tasmania will launch the Big Bash season.
That is absolutely right, Kim. The eyes of a sports-starved nation will be on our state for the start of this year's tournament. And it's a blockbuster. The Hobart Hurricanes will be coming up against last year's champion, the Sydney Sixers, at Blunston Arena. From there, we'll have a flood of fixtures, some going to Hobart and a couple coming up here to Launceston. And for fans who can't make it to the ground, there's good news for you too. The Big Bash announcement.
I'm really happy to bring on the cricket.
And lots of it. 10 days, 8 games, featuring 6 different teams.
The most BBL games that's ever been played in Tasmania in any one season.
Hobart will host 6 of the games, starting with that clash against last season's champion, the Sydney Sixers, under lights. Another night game follows between the Melbourne Renegades and Perth Scorchers before a double-header. The Hurricanes host the Adelaide Strikers in the afternoon before the Sixers and the Renegades go at it that night. 2 more day games are scheduled, the Canes and the Renegades, the Sixers and the Strikers. Launceston has locked in 2 games, both under lights. Only one features Tasmania's team, that's against the Strikers. Then it's the Perth Scorchers and the Melbourne Stars, a reward for UTAS Stadium's curator.
They've been preparing for the possibility of a game, so I'm sure they're going to have a good flat pitch, so which is going to see plenty of runs.
All players coming from interstate or overseas will follow normal quarantine rules, and Cricket Australia will foot the bill for player accommodation, but taxpayers are still tipping in.
In the past, we provided around $200,000 a year to support BBL. We've mainly done that on project funding. This year's budget will include a little more than that, around $260,000 a year going forward over 4 years.
Games will also be played in the ACT, Queensland and South Australia. And if you can't score a ticket, we'll be broadcasting all of the Tasmanian games on free-to-air. So finally, some good news for local cricket fans, Kim. I have to make sure I'm in line for tickets when they're available. I'll be back, though, in the studio soon for all the day's sport. See you soon.
OK, we'll see you very soon, Tom. Thank you very much. Well, while it's good news for fans, Public Health has warned things are going to look different with COVID safety measures in place. To explain more, we're joined from outside Blunston Arena by our reporter, Meg Sides. Good evening, Meg. Now, what does this mean for Hurricane supporters?
Well, Kim, I'm not sure anyone is going to be more excited than Tom, but fans around the state are bound to be buzzing. Although the games are going to look a little differently than they have in previous years. Cricket Australia is yet to officially submit its final COVID safety plan to Public Health, but tickets are looking like they'll be slightly more difficult to come by. The 2 stadiums can only be filled to 50% of the seated capacity under current guidelines, and Hurricane members will get first dibs. It will look a little more sparse in the grandstands as well. Crowds are going to be spread out throughout the venues.
There'll be expectations that people moving in and out of the venue are kept physically distanced, and there will need to be processes in place to make sure that going to get a pie or a drink at intervals is done safely.
And of course, fans won't be able to stand up and drink at this stage, but the government has hinted that that could soon change. The Premier says he's going to unveil a summer certainty package, which could see some restrictions change in time for summer, Kim.
Well, moving on, and rough sleepers can rest a little easier tonight with confirmation that the Safe Shelter program will continue after a successful trial period. The service is run by City Mission in Launceston and Hobart and the Salvation Army in Burnie, providing overnight shelter to homeless Tasmanians.
There's an opportunity to bring people here so that they can start a journey, hopefully, to more secure housing and a better hope and future for each one of them.
This service has been providing an opportunity to wrap around other services, health, mental health and housing support as well.
The state's housing crisis is putting strain on these services. There are currently over 3,300 applicants for social housing who are waiting on average 15 months to be housed. A woman is in a critical condition following a bicycle crash on the Tasman Bridge. Traffic was brought to a standstill, with lanes remaining closed throughout the morning as police investigated.
A morning commute gone horribly wrong. This bicycle left sitting on the Tasman Bridge after a cyclist crashed on the bike path. Police called to the scene at around 10 this morning, left to work out just what happened.
The lady was travelling from the western shore to the eastern shore, and the entire incident occurred on the footpath or the cycling pathway on the downhill slope towards Montague Bay.
The 46-year-old woman rushed to hospital in a serious condition with head injuries. Police say no other vehicles were involved and the woman was wearing a helmet.
There's no suggestion at all that she's hit anything prior to her coming off the bicycle at this stage. But as I say, this is an open investigation and we're very interested in members of the public who may have witnessed this event.
Traffic backed up along the Tasman Highway for several hours. Police closing lanes on the bridge and diverting traffic. Funding has already been allocated in the federal budget to significantly widen the pathways on the bridge. The Bicycle Network says those upgrades can't come soon enough.
The bridge's path is extremely narrow and it makes it very uncomfortable when you're riding. There are a lot of obstacles on the bridge that make it more dangerous, so we'd like to see those obstacles removed and a wider path to make it safer.
Authorities have encouraged riders and walkers to take care when travelling across the bridge, but the cause of the incident is still unclear.
Very unfortunate, and our thoughts are with the family and the cyclist at this stage.
Anyone with information or dashcam footage is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
After a reckless driving incident on the West Tamar Highway yesterday, police are still calling for those with information to come forward. A car detected travelling 30 kilometres an hour over the limit and driving on the wrong side of the road. 2 male occupants fled the scene, having crashed the green Holden station wagon on Cormiston Road in Riverside. After many of the state's calendar highlights were cancelled due to COVID restrictions, one has been locked in for the summer season. The organisers behind Festivali have unveiled plans for next year's modified event to be held at Launceston's UTAS Stadium for the first time.
Launceston's biggest party back on the calendar. Sort of.
Indulge will occur across the same weekend that Festivali normally would be enjoying, but it'll be a very different event in a different location and in a different format.
Indulge to be held this February after the coronavirus forced cancellation of the traditional Festivali. Making sure foodies get their fix of culinary delights, the event will consist of 4 fully seated sessions with 2,000 people present at each.
Because we couldn't bring Festivali to you, we wanted to do something that was different. We didn't want people to come to City Park and walk in the gates and go, oh, it's just going to be the same but smaller. We just really wanted something that was unique and it's a one-off.
The location, UTAS Stadium, also a draw card, according to organisers.
Many people will have been here before to watch a football game and been to social events. Very few people can say that they've enjoyed a meal while sitting on the grounds.
Expressions of interest were sent to all Festivali's usual vendors, while bars will stock beverages from local favourites. Live entertainment is also a key component of the event, which many are hoping can kick off an improved social calendar compared to 2020's meek offering.
Oh, look, it's very important. I think it's great that we can have these events to show that in the current environment which we're living, that we can still get out, do it the right way, socially distance, do the right things and still have fun and enjoy it.
With organisers flagging a return to normality for 2022, punters have a one-off chance to experience a different Festivali. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
New figures have shown people are packing up their life in capital cities and moving to Tasmania's regional areas. The realestate.com report positions Devonport as a popular and affordable location for first-time buyers, while suburbs of Launceston also recorded growth of 4% in the last quarter.
And it is in the middle of a recession. We're in a pandemic. We have very, very high levels of unemployment. So the fact that we are seeing price growth at all for any property type is quite extraordinary.
Real estate experts are predicting bigger market growth now borders to most states are open. A coroner has cleared a northwest farm of culpability after the workplace death of a teenager 6 years ago. Eric Marshall died after the forklift he was driving rolled over, pinning him to the ground.
On what's usually a bustling vegetable farm, on this day, the machinery fell silent. The day 19-year-old Eric Marshall lost his life, described by his boss as a hard-working, honest and reliable employee. The forklift he was operating rolled, trapping him under its weight. A catastrophe caused by himself, according to the coroner, finding he was driving in an inappropriate manner at excessive speed and was swerving over the roadway. He also wasn't wearing a seatbelt. All practices of the Lockhaven produce farm were thrust under the microscope, but the inquiry found the equipment was safe and the victim had been given adequate training. While the coroner did not lay blame with the farm for the man's death, the business did plead guilty to breaching the Workplace Health and Safety Act. At the time, no one on site, including the victim, held a current forklift licence. Oversights the farm has now fixed, along with appropriate safety policies and procedures. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Independent MP is calling for a crackdown on Tasmania's racing industry, alleging ex-racehorses are being slaughtered to feed greyhounds. Andrew Wilkie says he has evidence of the practice from within the sector. He's now urging the government to intervene and introduce overhauled animal welfare rules.
This is a circular form of cruelty. The racehorse doesn't run fast enough. It's fed to the greyhounds, and if the greyhounds don't run fast enough, many of them mysteriously disappear.
Racing Minister Jane Howlett says animal welfare is her key priority and it is legal for horses to be euthanised in Tasmania if performed humanely. A major Tasmanian tennis tournament is at risk of moving to Melbourne. Tennis officials are threatening to move all tournaments, including the Hobart International, to Melbourne this summer. They're worried the world's best players could get stuck in quarantine and won't make it here for the Australian Open. But the Tasmanian government says it's hopeful the Hobart International can go ahead, providing players coming from overseas quarantine when they arrive in Australia. Well, a new walking track at a Tasmanian primary school is helping shake up the way children are taught. The Loop, a joint project between Dodges Ferry Primary and local community groups, has been designed in line with the outdoor school concept aimed at improving learning.
Out of the classroom and into the environment. This field at Dodges Ferry now providing inspiration to more than 400 students from the local primary school.
Part of what we do here at Dodges Ferry Primary is bringing the outdoor learning to our children, so they're actually using it to help with their curiosity and inquiry skills.
The 1 kilometre community loop track runs around the school, connecting students to the town, its history and environment. Officially opening on Outdoor Classroom Day today, signs and drawings designed by the children are dotted along the course.
I like looking at the artwork around it and I like walking around it with friends. You get to be outside and walk around with your friends and talk to them.
They've got pictures of inspirations from the natural environment around our school, plus some words of encouragement.
Teachers will now use the area to take reading, writing and math away from the pages and into real life. The school's principal says the concept is changing the way children everywhere learn.
Results are showing that they're actually succeeding a lot more. So it's intertwining with reading, writing, our numeracy focus, so it actually gives them inspiration, gives them a bit of purpose.
It reinforces those school and community connections. It shares the school environment.
Students already giving the plan high marks. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
It can be an unsettling step heading to high school, but public transport training is making the transition a little easier. Metro Tasmania staff spent the day teaching Goulburn Street primary school grade 6s how to stay safe and catch the right bus when they start grade 7 next year. The program was designed to help students become more confident using the service.
We've got students who literally live really close to the school and have only had to walk down the road to school, so to suddenly get on a bus by themselves is a big step.
I think there is a bus stop right on Forest Road, so I think I'll be fine and I'm quite excited to catch the bus.
It's hoped the transport training will also encourage more students onto the bus, easing peak hour traffic congestion a little.
Just recapping our coverage from earlier, Tasmania has been chosen to host a Big Bash hub. 6 games will be played at Blunston Arena, including the season opener between the Hurricanes and the Sydney Sixers. Half of the games will be played at night and half during the day, while UTAS Stadium will have 2 games, both at night, featuring the Hurricanes, Strikers, Scorchers and Stars. Attendance will be capped at 50% capacity.
Good evening. Launceston's 20, the warmest today after Mount Wellington's low of -3. Hobart and Burnie 17, Devonport a top of 18. Friendly Beaches 18, Bushy Park and Low Head Reach 17, Smithton and St Helens 16, Strawn, Grove and Flinders Island all 15 with King Island 14 today. A few showers over the west and south, only light as low-level cloud moved over. The north and northeast fairly clear. That cloud also over Victoria and areas of the New South Wales coast, high-level convective cloud over the top end. Tomorrow a cold front sneaks in, approaches our southwest and crosses during the day. That'll be quickly replaced by a high extending a ridge our way. The troughs continue over the mainland. Winds heading around to be west-northwesterly at 15 to 25 knots, but reaching 35 knots over the south and to 30 knots in the east. Swells to 4.5 metres. There's the warning, a gale warning from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. We also have a strong wind warning for all remaining waters apart from the far northwest coast. 17 with a shower or 2 for Hobart, 15 for Huonville. Possible afternoon shower for Campania. 18 the top for Launceston and partly cloudy. Same for Devonport. Georgetown a bit of wind picking up, 18 degrees. 17 for Burnie. Strawn a few showers with 14 the high and 17 for Wynyard. St Helens expecting a high of 20 with a possible late shower. Bit of cloud over Swansea, 19 the high and 15 for Port Arthur. Bit windy and a shower on the way. Sun up at 5:51 a.m. and by the middle of the day we will have a very high UV of 8. On to the weekend now and light snowfalls to the 800 metre mark in the south. Fine and partly cloudy, a light shower over the west. Fine and mostly sunny on Sunday. Temperatures still though under 20 and warming up a little on Monday. Launceston and Swansea 21, Hobart expecting 23. Further north and partly cloudy tomorrow for Perth and Adelaide. A late shower for Melbourne. Conditions clearing over Canberra and Sydney. Brisbane sunny 28. 14 in Hobart at the moment, bit cloudy, 18 right now and partly cloudy in Launceston, clear in Devonport and 15 degrees. Kim, I always get excited when Tom Johnson comes on in sport and talks about all the trade and the deals during Trade Week. I've been putting my hand up for Trade Week for years, but I'm still here.
Apparently not worth much, Beth. We love you though. I like the new haircut too. It might make you tradable.